yesterday. We're with us from Wyoming East High School. Head coach Kent McBride, players Connor Fox, Helen Muscari, and Zach Hunt. Coach, appreciate the time. Just some thoughts, and we'll get some questions.
You never want to be the first one in these meeting rooms, but the conversation we just had with the basketball team is feeling an unbelievable amount of immense pride with not only these three, but the other 9 in there. We ran into a really good basketball team today, and we knew coming in, when you get down to this point of the season, you're not going to get a bad team. And we ran into a good one. We gave it a heck of an effort, and I think of points our youth really showed today at certain points of that game. You kind of had 18-year-olds that have been down here for a long, long time versus guys who have just stepped foot on this floor, and we battled like crazy to try to overcome it, but we just couldn't. And it wasn't due to lack of effort, it wasn't due to lack of execution, and it wasn't due to lack of preparation. So as a coach, when you have those 3 things and that's how your team approaches things, you're not sad when you get this result. What you are is you're just ready to get back to work. So tip our cap to Coach Sorrow and those guys. But I'm proud, very proud.
That 12-3 run, second part of the second quarter, was really key. When you look at what happened the rest of the way, it was 12-3 run by then.
In the second quarter, third.
Third, I think.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, but that's what they do, man. You know, like we made a run there into the first half and took the lead, and we knew coming out that they were going to get a swing in, and we just weren't really able to stop it. You know, they kind of imposed their will a little bit, actually a lot. And if you look at the stat sheet and when you see a team that, you know, I know we fouled late, but the way they drove the ball to basket and kind of put body on body there at time, when they set a screen, I mean, they're getting flesh. And they kind of imposed their will there for a time, and we tried like crazy to stop it. But, you know, when you got Schramm and Bryant and those type of guys, they can do that to you.
Coach, talk about what you did to their big 3 though in the first half to kind of maintain that pace with them.
Our plan going in was, you know, I have a 6'9" guy here to my left, and our plan going into the game was to try to limit Bryant and Schramm from beating us from the 3-point line. And when you looked at halftime, I think they were 2 for 7 or 2 for 8, and the game plan was working. It's kind of what we did in most of our games leading into this. And then in the third quarter, when you get Schramm loose, and that was what we were trying to do, and see if we could run them off the 3-point line and try to take advantage on the other end with the 6'9" guy. But they did a good job, and sometimes, you know, there was a play where we were trying to bat on, we deflect the ball, and daggone if it doesn't bounce right to Schramm in the corner, he whacks a 3. It's like, you know, that's what good teams do. So these guys executed it, but sometimes players can out-execute the plan.
How big do you think the dunk in, you know, the first minute or so, that sequence wasn't settling the kids down? It doesn't really look like they've had trouble with nerves, but when you come out and start like that, that'll get you the juices flowing.
Listen, I won't lie. And if these guys are going to be truthful to you, you know, they don't always tell me the truth. They were really nervous at Logan. And I could feel today that they were not nervous. They were very relaxed leading into the game for whatever reason. Maybe the one game under their belt. But when you start off with, I think it was 2-0, wasn't it? Was that the first basket of the game, or no? It was 4-2. You know, Rory Chapman taught me when I got into high school. He said dunks are usually worth 4 to 6 points in high school, and he's right. You know, that was lets them relax. But man, these guys really, really grew up and they really grew as a team. And the thing that people don't realize is when you take over the situation we didn't get any personal time together. It was every time we were with each other, you're in practice. There's no time you get to know guys. It's very difficult. They're high school students. Us being up here in hotels is big for a program that we were not afforded that opportunity due to the circumstances. So that's what makes my heart full, is these guys really spent some quality time together, and unfortunately it's over.
Taylor, it seemed like during the handshake line, the Williamstown guys were very sincere about what you did on the floor. I mean, very complimentary is what it looked like. Any words in particular? Because I know they were hugging you.
They were just telling me to, we'll be back, and we're just a great team. I'm a great player, but I don't care about what they say about me. I care about the team more than I care about myself. I'll do whatever it takes for us to win.
But did it give you any satisfaction? I mean, just to know that you
No,
made
because
an impact?
because we lost. No.
Okay.
It just looked like they switched defenses. I think more of a zone there in the first half and some pressure. Just talk about what you kind of thought that the switches were in response to.
Well, one, ice leaving out of the game, and two, they played 4 defenses in the first half. They pressed, they played a triangle on 2, they played a man, they played a zone, and if I'm being honest, it gave us a lot of confidence because, you know, when you got them scrambling defenses, we feel like, okay, you're unsure how to guard us, and I thought we attacked it pretty well, especially with Connor in foul trouble. We were able to still maintain, but it's really hard to do that on the fly when the guy dribbling the ball is 15 years old and the guy you're trying to play with are 16 years old. You know, we're trying to adjust all these defenses that we really haven't seen, and as a coach, sometimes you just got to let Jesus take the wheel. Well, they did a pretty good job, but in the second half, they just said, you know, we're going to sit down and guard you, and it affected us a little differently.
We talked about that, so you got one. Peter, back, just how much of this was a learning experience for you guys to get for improvement.
Yeah, and you hate to communicate, you hate to talk about that because it's, you know, Zach down there on the end, and Zach's a big time baseball catcher, so we'll be at his baseball games watching him, but it goes back to the previous point of, it's big that these guys get to spend this time together in a hotel room, at a meal, and truthfully, without parents around. It was just us. For the last 5 days, it's been 16 people on a bus, in a hotel room, whatever. That is just as important as how much weight we lift or how many times we go in the gym and shoot. And the thing that I told them is they don't realize, they're too young to realize what they did to with this community, what they've done. I mean, you guys saw the crowd. The 2 biggest crowds up here this week are Wyoming East and West Side. They're the 2 biggest crowds, they're the 2 biggest followings. And our communities are very prideful in that fact. So I want these guys to know they did that. They did it. They've sparked that to where now we're here. We plan to be a fixture here, but that's going to take another level of effort. You know, the thing you got, you know, what the work we did got us to this point. Well, now to take the next step, I guarantee you can ask Parker Schramm and Isley and Jaden Bryant what work it took for them to get to this step, because those guys have been here 3 years. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first state championship game, correct, that they've been in. This will be the first one. And those guys are good, and they've been here a long time. It takes another level. And, you know, to Talon's answer, he doesn't care, he just wanted to win. They will put in the work.
Ken, can you talk about what Zach has meant to the program over the last, especially in the postseason?
I think Zach would tell you that probably leading up to this week, he had not shot the ball to his standard. And, you know, we kept telling him, man, if you're not going to shoot it when you're open, I'm going to take you out. I mean, that's what you're out here to do. And for him to step on this stage, and especially on Thursday, and especially today, and be a senior to when guys needed to see that type of leadership and that type of example, because Zach's not a very vocal guy, but he'll do everything you ask him to do. And the perfect example is we were in the regional semifinal and another senior was playing well, and I turned around to Zach and I said, hey, I'm going to roll with this guy. And he looked at me dead in the eyes and he said, absolutely, we need to win the game, you leave him in the game. That's the example that he set in a program, that it's a selfless type of leadership, that we're about winning. He sat there for about 7 minutes and said, you keep the guy with the hot hand. That will resonate for years. I hate to see him go, but we just talked. He better be back.
Zach, you've got baseball doing that age before, but what's it meant for you to be with these guys and kind of being the leader for a very young team?
It's been a lot. They're gonna be good. This team's gonna be good in the next couple of years, and just this past week has been great. It's been a blast. Just hanging out with the guys, the coaches. It's been a lot.
Do you have any superstitions when it comes to these basketball games?
No, and Rory does. So that's the problem. So we got coaches that some of them are superstitious, some of them aren't. And, you know, he must have lined up the same way of national anthem. I try like crazy not to do it. I mean, he brought his cell phone out today and sat it down on the scores table because we did it on Tuesday. I did. Maybe I cost us the game without the cell phone. But no, I stay away from the superstitions because I feel like they can overcome you. But I'm fighting my assistant coach because he's bringing the superstition. So I don't know who's ultimately going to win out. But I try like crazy not to let that in. That's the baseball thing.
Connor, you got up to a real high start, obviously with the dunk to start the game. Then you had some foul trouble and had to sit out probably 9 minutes in the first half. How frustrating was that?
It was something else. It was because I was getting hot.
You know, we knew going in that obviously that's an advantage. And they switched every ball screen, and we knew it. So early in the game, we went to some, we were going to force their hand and make them show their cards. And it got him going, and then, you know, you talk about, got tangled up with Isley, and both of them had to sit down. And, you know, we tried to balance him in the second quarter in and out. We put him in once, and Coach Chapman took the lead. So then we're just trying to say, hey, if we keep him on the court in the third and fourth quarter, we feel like that's a big change. But that one hurt.
Okay for you just obviously taking over mid-season, just having to learn the kids, and trying to get them to the stage. Just for you, I mean, first year back at the high school level, just to be able to get to this point. I mean, obviously not that you want to want it, but still, what does it mean? Got it.
What means the most to me is when you walk in a locker room of guys that very few had built trust. I'd coached Talon in middle school. I'd coached Grace Nashon, and that was about the extent. And for them to open up their hearts and minds for me and Coach Chapman when we walked in, and to do whatever we asked them to do, whether it was right or wrong, that's hard to get a 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kid. It takes a special kid to do that, especially when we played in 18 hours that day. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot because my kids come around, my 10 and 6-year-old come around. Braxton Morgan has seen my kids this week more than I've seen my kids. Because every time we come to a gym, they go sit with him. You know, for them to do that, for my family, and I will be indebted, but it sets a precedent in the program, and it sets an example in the program of this is how we operate, and this is what we expect of each other. We just talked today about the best type of leadership is servant leadership. And for them to be those type of servants to me and my kids, I will love them forever. And it's hard for 15-year-olds to use that L word, but I will love these guys forever.
Tom, what do you think this experience will mean to you guys? You're a freshman, and you got 3 more years, and Dick talked about the guys from Parkersburg, or rather Williamstown, being down here for 3 years. What do you think this experience will do for you and the team going forward?
I think it's going to help our team a lot. Just come down here and get a taste of it, know what it's like down here. And we're going to come back ready next year to come back down here and win it. We want to win it as soon as possible, and we want to keep winning it. I think it's going to help us a lot being down here.
You know, in our gym, if you guys ever come, we don't hang any banner but the one that matters. We don't hang runner-up banners. We don't hang regional championship banners. We hang one banner. So we're proud, but we hang one banner.
Any further questions? All right, Coach.